He's Jalen Rose. I am David Jacoby. We are Jalen and Jacoby. What is it that we do?
We get the people what they want.
Jalen Rose, the Warriors came out to play. Yay. They hosted the Denver Nuggets in Game 5 at home, and it wasn't the prettiest performance, but they got the win. They move on to the second round, and they're starting to look like one of the more formidable teams in the NBA, led by Steph Curry.
And being led by their best players, he's eased himself back into it, scoring 30. I believe he made 5 threes and doing it in an array of ways. And how Steve Kerr continued to nurture Steph, bring him off the bench, allow him to continue to increase his minutes, continue to increase his workload, is a basic residue of what they've done with this roster all season, allowing Jordan Poole to flourish into one of the most improved players and a Sixth Man of the Year candidate. Yesterday, Gary Payton II, who always gave you defense, but now when he's making shots, you can trust him more to play clutch minutes. And so giving him confidence. And then Draymond, as an anchor defensively, as a creator offensively, like the Golden State Warriors, I was not surprised that they took care of business and closed out the Denver Nuggets, but it was great to see the talent from within their roster continue to be contributors that now make them seem like the best team in basketball.
We all know about Clay and Curry and Draymond, but they're getting contributions from Poole. And last night it was Gary Payton II who did it both offensively and defensively in front of his pops.
I love that so very much. You know, GP, that's my brother. And to see him celebrate his son getting quality minutes in their home state, that's just a beautiful thing. And when I think of Gary Payton II, and shout to Kuminga too, because he's a player that they continue to develop from within. I appreciate that father-son dynamic, and that's what I thought of when I saw Clay show up at the game with the bike, Jacoby. It was more like having an old soul, you know what I mean? Remember he was in the locker room early in his career reading the newspaper, you know, because he was modeling after what he saw his dad do. And so I appreciated watching these guys be able to be on the big stage, but also have a little fun with it. And also, you ride a bike to work all of the time.
You gotta go through security. Come on, Clay. Yeah, there he goes. All right, good. You know I love to ride my bike to work, and I'm glad that Klay Thompson does the same. Gets you a little cardio, get the body flowing before you go. The Bay Area is nice around this time of year. Big shout to Klay Thompson. Now, Jalen, turning our attention to the Nuggets quickly, I feel like the Nuggets and the Nets are kind of in the same boat. They did not perform very well in the first round at all. However, they're looking at the roster saying, if we get Michael Porter Jr. back 100%, if we get Jamal Murray back 100%, we've got the presumptive MVP. Will they be a contender next season?
Yes, because of that guy right there. And the Joker got up to a slow start in this series, but did you see how dominant he was?
Yes.
What are you, high 30s, almost 20 boards,
30 points, 19 rebounds.
Right, like putting the smack down. Like, he was terrific. And the regular season, he deserved, in my opinion, the MVP because he did something historic. 2,000 points, 1,000 rebounds, 500 assists. It hasn't been done. And when you look at the roster of people that he's playing with, as you mentioned, no Jamal Murray, no Michael Porter Jr., yes, there'll be an ascending team in the West when those guys return, kind of like we're seeing from Dallas this year and Memphis as well.
To try to take care of business, knowing how important this game was to win. You know, first 3 quarters, 2.5 quarters, you could tell like we were kind of pressing a little bit. They were obviously, Jokic was playing amazing. And they had a lot of life in that third quarter, and it was a good reminder of, again, how hard it is to win a playoff game, how hard it is to, you know, close a team out, and just dealing with, you know, the nerves of it all, because it matters so much, and I think we wanted it so much, kind of got in our own way a little bit, and you know, fourth quarter is just about, can you find a way to just get it done, get enough stops to speed up the game a little bit, put some pressure on them, and we were able to do that. Obviously, everybody contributed. It was a fun way to finish the game, considering all that's happened this year with the lineup that we had out there, GP doing his thing on both ends of the floor. You know, Draymond and Loon providing a good presence for us inside. Otto coming up big. It was just not exactly how you would draw it up, but it was a playoff type of environment where it's just, can you get the win and get out of here?
Gary barely made the roster. Was there a moment you knew, like, oh, that guy can help us in playoff games, like early in the season?
It seemed so long ago, but like November was wild, just how he was making his presence felt, bringing a lot of energy, athleticism on both ends of the floor, his defensive awareness and impact. So you knew like he was capable of doing that, but it's also like the unknown of this group being, in this situation for the first time, and the playoffs brings the best and worst out of you. And like, look at his impact this series. If I'm not mistaken, the first 2 games, he played a little bit, but he had an impact, but it wasn't like tonight. Game 3, he was amazing in the first half. He was pretty much perfect in his minutes. Game 4 didn't really have, that opportunity, and then he comes back and finishes off a series clinching game. So it's how we do things. Everybody has to be ready, but he really made his presence felt and showed, what he's capable of, and he's going to continue to do that, especially with whoever we play next round.
Stephen, in a game like this where the Nuggets were coming after you guys really hard early on and physical, a lot of fouling, got choppy, grimy, how valuable a tool is a guy like Gary?
I mean, he fills a lot of different roles, and he's tough to. If he's making his catch and shoot threes, he's tough to game plan against because you put probably your big on him. He can roll. He was rolling to the basket, pick and rolls, finishing at the rim. He made those 2 clutch threes. So what he gives us on defense is amazing already. And then when you put teams in different positions on offense, when they're defending us, and he's kind of roaming all over the place and using his quickness, to his advantage, it's pretty impactful. He even made a play, I think, where he turned out a 3, pump fake, drove down, dropped down pass to Draymond for a finish. So you could tell as a guy that's been around the game in terms of it's in his DNA, and he looked very composed out there in a very big moment.
You seem to get going from 3 second half, and then at some point you clearly decided to get to the rim. What went into that decision, and how much better do you feel driving to the rim the way you can?
It's just all feel. Like, I think I hit those 3 threes in the third quarter. I think they're all in the third quarter. And it's just a matter of just feeling the rhythm and stepping in and taking them. The rest of the time, you try to play that balance of not forcing something early in the shot clock and making them defend, and then seeing those driving lanes that if they're going to try to sell out the 3 and you get a big out there in an uncomfortable position, you can get downhill. So it's just being confident, whatever it is. Like, even if I were to try to shoot some step back 3s or something like that, if that's what the shot I was going to take, it was going to be a confident shot. But you kind of live and die with that. Tonight it was kind of a nice balance, and down the stretch I saw a lot of space and was able to get down there.
Steph, Draymond was so determined to defend without fouling after Game 4, and he shined on the tough matchup each game. What can you say about what he does on the playoff stage to take his game to another level in a matchup like that?
Having been around the block a few times, you run out of words to try to describe it. It's obviously